Imagine sitting alone in a hospital security room. It's 2 a.m. Rain crashes violently against the windows outside. Thunder shakes the walls every few seconds, and the entire building feels strangely empty, almost abandoned. You're the only person awake inside the security department. The coffee beside you has already gone cold. The monitors in front of you show silent hallways, dark waiting rooms, sleeping patients, exhausted nurses. Everything looks normal. Until suddenly, a red warning flashes across the screen. Warning, oxygen system failure detected. For a moment, you think it's a glitch. Then another message appears. Backup power available for only one ward. All other wards will shut down in 10 minutes. Your heartbeat stops. You immediately grab the emergency phone and call maintenance. No answer. You call the main control room. Deadline. Then the final message appears on the screen, manual override required. 2 buttons slowly light up beneath the monitor. Button 1, Children's Ward. Button 2, Emergency Ward. Your hands begin to shake. Because you already know what this means. If you press the first button, the children's ward survives. If you press the second button, the emergency ward survives. You quickly pull up the hospital records. Inside the emergency ward are 5 patients. A woman injured in a car accident. A teenage boy with severe burns. An old man struggling to breathe. A pregnant woman losing blood. And a young police officer who was shot earlier that night. 5 people. 5 families. 5 lives. Then you open the records for the children's ward. Only one patient remains there tonight. A 7-year-old boy connected to an oxygen machine. Your son. For a second, the room feels smaller. Your breathing becomes heavy. You stare at the 2 glowing buttons. 5 strangers, or your child. Most people believe morality is simple until life places them in a room like this. You try to think logically. 5 lives are greater than 1, right? That's what society teaches. That's what philosophy teaches. Sacrifice one person to save many. But then another voice appears inside your mind. If your own son dies while you save strangers, will you ever forgive yourself? You close your eyes. And suddenly memories begin flooding your head. The first time your son called you dad. The night he fell asleep on your shoulder. The way he laughs during cartoons. The promise you made to protect him no matter what happens. And now, the universe has trapped you inside a nightmare where every choice destroys part of your soul. You look at the timer on the screen. 7:14 remaining. Then something even worse happens. The emergency ward camera turns on automatically. You can see the 5 patients struggling. Doctors are manually pumping oxygen into them. Nurses are panicking. One of the patients begins violently shaking. Then the children's ward camera appears beside it. Your son is asleep. Peaceful. Unaware that his life is hanging by a single decision. Now answer honestly. What would you do? Would you save 5 strangers and sacrifice your own child? If you choose the 5 people, society may call you a hero. But when you return home to an empty bedroom, when you see his toys untouched, when you hear silence where his laughter once lived, will the word hero still matter? And if you choose your son instead, does that make you selfish? Or does it simply make you human? The timer reaches 4 minutes. Your hands move toward the buttons. But before you press anything, the screen suddenly changes. New priority message detected. One of the 5 patients inside the emergency ward is a convicted serial killer. A man responsible for murdering 11 people years ago. You freeze. Now the situation changes again. Because saving the emergency ward no longer means saving 5 innocent people. One of them is a monster. So now answer this, does every life hold equal value? Should a murderer's life count the same as a child's life? And who gets to decide that? You? The law? Society? God? The timer reaches 2 minutes. Your pulse feels unbearable now. Then another terrifying thought enters your mind. What if the serial killer regrets what he did? What if prison changed him? What if tomorrow he could become a better person? Do bad people deserve a second chance? Or once someone becomes evil, are they permanently worthless? Most people watching this story believe they know what they would choose. But deep down, almost nobody truly knows who they are until life corners them with impossible decisions. Finally, with only seconds remaining, you press a button. The screen goes black. And we never reveal which one you chose. Because the point of this story is not the answer. The point is the question. But the night is not over yet. Now imagine another situation. A completely different life. You are 23 years old. You live in a tiny apartment filled with unpaid bills. Your mother is lying in bed beside a weak yellow lamp. Her breathing is shallow. Every cough sounds painful. The doctor already told you the truth. Without a special injection before sunrise, she will die. You spent weeks searching for money. You sold your watch, your phone, even your father's old jacket. But it still wasn't enough. That night, rain pours across the empty streets as you walk home hopelessly. Then you pass by a pharmacy. Closed. Dark. Silent. And through the glass window, you see it. The exact injection your mother needs. Sitting there quietly behind the counter. So now the universe asks you another question. If breaking the law is the only way to save someone you love, is it still wrong? You stare at the pharmacy door. You know cameras are watching. You know police could arrest you. You know prison could destroy your future forever. But you also know something else. If you walk away tonight, your mother dies. Most people say stealing is wrong. But morality becomes blurry when pain enters the room. A starving man does not think like a full man. A desperate son does not think like a judge. So tell me, who is the real criminal here? The poor man stealing medicine? Or the world that allows life-saving treatment to become a luxury? You pick up a brick from the street. Your hands tremble. One throw changes everything. Then suddenly, you notice movement behind you. An old homeless man is sitting nearby under a bus stop roof, watching you silently. After a few seconds, he speaks. If you steal that medicine tonight, you'll save your mother. You slowly nod. Then he asks, but what happens when everybody decides their pain justifies breaking the rules? You say nothing. Because deep down, you know he's right too. Without laws, society collapses. But without compassion, society becomes cruel. And somehow both statements are true at the same time. The old man smiles sadly. Then he says something you never forget. The hardest choices are the ones where both sides make sense. You finally throw the brick. Glass explodes across the street. Alarms begin screaming instantly. You run inside, grab the injection, and disappear into the darkness. Your mother survives. But for the next 20 years, every time you hear a police siren, your heart races. Because even though you saved a life, Part of you still wonders whether you became a criminal that night. Now let's move to the final question. And this one may be the most disturbing of all. Imagine a future where technology becomes so advanced that scientists invent a machine capable of predicting crimes before they happen. Not guesses. Not probabilities. Perfect predictions. The machine scans brain activity, emotions, memories, behavioral patterns. And it has never once been wrong. At first, the world celebrates it. Crime rates collapse. Murders disappear. Violence nearly vanishes. Governments call it humanity's greatest invention. People finally feel safe. Until one morning, your name appears on the screen. Predicted future crime, murder. Time until incident, 6 months. You laugh at first. It has to be a mistake. You've never hurt anyone. You've never even been in a fight. But then police arrive at your house. They arrest you immediately. Your neighbors stare in horror. Your friends stop answering calls. Social media labels you a future killer. And suddenly your entire life changes because of something you haven't even done. Inside the interrogation room, an officer places the machine report in front of you. You will kill someone in 6 months. You keep repeating the same sentence. But I didn't do anything. The officer calmly replies, the machine says you will. Now think carefully. Can someone be guilty before committing a crime? Most people would instantly say no. But then another question appears. If the machine is truly perfect, and releasing you guarantees someone innocent will die, wouldn't stopping you actually save a life? This is where philosophy becomes terrifying. Because every answer creates another problem. If the government arrests innocent people based on future predictions, freedom dies. But if they ignore the machine, innocent victims may die instead. So what matters more? Freedom? Or safety? History shows us something dangerous. Every government that promises absolute safety eventually demands absolute control. And people usually surrender freedom slowly, because fear makes control feel comforting. Inside your prison cell, days pass. Then weeks. Then months. You begin questioning yourself. What if the machine is right? What if somewhere deep inside me, I really am capable of murder? You replay every angry memory from your life. Every moment of jealousy. Every hateful thought. Every hidden darkness you never admitted existed. And slowly, you stop fearing the machine. You start fearing yourself. Then one day, another prisoner asks you something horrifying. If the machine predicts your future perfectly, then were your choices ever truly yours? That question destroys your mind. Because if your future is already known, then maybe free will never existed at all. Maybe every decision you ever made was simply chemistry inside your brain. Maybe your anger, your love, your dreams, your regrets, were always predetermined. And if that's true, can anybody really deserve punishment? After all, how do you blame a person for following a path they were never free to escape? Months later, the date of the predicted murder finally arrives. The government transfers you under heavy security. Hundreds of officers surround you. Helicopters fill the sky. The entire world watches live television broadcasts waiting to see whether the machine was right. Then suddenly, an accident happens nearby. A truck loses control. It crashes violently into the street. Fire spreads everywhere. People scream. Chaos erupts. And through the smoke, you see a little girl trapped beneath burning metal. Without thinking, you break away from the officers and run toward her. Everyone panics. Snipers aim their weapons at you. The police believe the predicted murder is about to happen. But instead, you pull the little girl from the fire. You save her life. The crowd watches in shock. Then, as you carry the child to safety, a burning piece of metal collapses from above. It strikes a police officer standing behind you. The officer dies instantly. Silence fills the street. The prediction came true. A man died because of you. But you never intended to kill anyone. Now answer this, was the machine correct? Did destiny win? Or did fear itself create the tragedy? Because if the government had never arrested you, never chased you, never surrounded you with armed officers, maybe nobody would have died at all. And suddenly the biggest question of all appears. Do humans create fate, or does fate create humans? This is why philosophy disturbs people. Because philosophy attacks the comfortable stories we tell ourselves. It forces us to stand in moral darkness without easy answers. Most people want clear definitions. Good people. Bad people. Right. Wrong. But real life rarely works that way. Sometimes saving lives feels evil. Sometimes breaking the law feels moral. Sometimes protecting society destroys freedom itself. And sometimes, the hardest questions in life have no perfect answers at all. So before you sleep tonight, ask yourself something honestly. Who are you when morality becomes impossible? Not when choices are easy. Not when society tells you what's right. But when every option destroys something precious. Because somewhere in this world, someone is already standing in a room with 2 buttons. And eventually, all of us are forced to discover who we truly are.